ante in a great resumption of form this season. Fox wins the Austrian Grand Prix and he wins the Italian Grand Prix. A great race for him. Will come across the line here and win the Brazilian Grand Prix. Redemption day for the American driver. She wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Will beat Kubo unless Cado gets an amazing run, which he does. As he comes to the final winner for the very first time.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the qualifying session for the inaugural Grand Prix in the United States of America in Ultimate Virtual. We are so excited to be bringing you this race from the Daytona International Circuit, specifically using the road course layout. It is a fascinating circuit, unlike anything that we've seen in Ultimate Virtual before. And the main reason for that being that aside from that little chicane, and obviously the first sector as a whole, this track runs along the steep bankings of the Daytona Oval at the International Speedway. It really fascinating in terms of the dynamics of these cars. We are expecting speed as a department to play a huge effect at this circuit. But that's enough waffling from me. Let's get straight into looking at some stuff, as we have Suicide on provisional pole. Not quite sure how that one's happened. Take a first look at the overview coming in to this race. These are your teams. You'll see actually the top two teams in the championship also have the most upgrades. That is probably something that you would expect logically. But it is interesting to see that that is now the case. They are tied on points. They are tied on upgrades 113 and 23 apiece. Slightly different complexions of the car though. Thunder X with an extra speed level, while SFR preferring some more turbo. So we'll see which package will be stronger overall. You'd have to gather that the extra speed level and extra acceleration level on Thunder X would be more impactful than the extra 2 turbo levels on the SFR, but who knows? Who knows? As for the rest of the grid, FER and BFX have no real challenge to provide, at least in this race. Next week may be a different story when we get to the tokenless finale at Interlagos, but no tokens left for either of those teams. Audi Sport Virtual, 3 tokens left. They do really well to get themselves up above 100 points today, which they could do either with Juan getting sort of second place, or a combination of him a strong finish and Prix a good tokenless finish. Both absolutely possible with that 4 speed levels on the Audi Sport Virtual car, the only car other than BFX to have that. They've gone also very heavily for acceleration, so it will be interesting to see, will this track be more acceleration or more grip lying? I think that'll be very fascinating. Velocity and Pappy Pops both with 4 token spenders, as does Ledpoor Racing. Mathematically, it is possible for Fox to be relegated today. It would require a very specific set of circumstances. I don't believe this is going to be the final lap. Oh no, just about isn't actually. Pappy crosses the line to make it not the final lap on that particular occasion, so drivers will get one more chance at it. But it would require a very specific set of circumstances, which I believe also includes a very strong finish from NSV. They'd need something like 20 points off their 2 tokens, which you can't imagine with a car that's not really been that impressive all season long. But we'll take a look at the drivers as they head across the line to finish us off. It's Kada out in front in the McQueen livery. Can he improve? Yes, he does, and he improves to the front row of the grid. What a fantastic lap from the Colombian driver, back racing in the Americas, pretty much for the first time since Interlagos last season. We'll see the final grid. But on pole position sits the man from just north of the border. Pappy, hailing from British Columbia, takes pole position down in Daytona. Kada starts on the front row. It's a good day for the red and orange vibe. We have 4 cars in the top 4 with a colour scheme of that variety. Abva will start a season best for the Fox team, up in 3rd position. What has been a dismal campaign for them, but he has put in a fantastic lap to start there. Suicide will start from 4th on the grid. Shiloh starts from 5th, ahead of Anti in 6th. Juan, then Pit Crew. Somehow I made it, starting ahead of Prix, top 10. It's Corvid, then Jaruni, his teammate 2 spots behind him, with Grandy splitting them. Goose and Cado share row 8 of the grid. Then it's Rito and Jake, Todzod and Fox starting from plumb last. Now this is really interesting, looking at the token spends, how this will affect the race, because 2 tokens for Bottas Pit Crew. He starts from 8th position, he'll look to rise up from there. Kada, 4 tokens, takes pole position. 4 tokens for Shiloh, she starts down in 5th position. Not a great qualifying there, but pretty decent still. Just a shock to be behind the tokenless Pappy Pops car and only 2 token spending Fox car, which has been, to not mince words, a shitbox all season long. 2 tokens for Somehow Made It, he'll start from 9th position. 3 tokens for Anti, starting up in 6th position. 4 tokens for Pappy on Paul, and it is 3 tokens for Juan, starting in 7th. His teammate Priya only 3 positions behind. Very interesting indeed. All in all, we've got 8 token spenders. You can expect 2 tokenless drivers in the top 10, potentially more, in this race. Very interesting indeed. I think we'll just take a look back, because it looks like what has helped Pappy Pops here massively is the acceleration. So you have to look at these high acceleration teams. Annoyingly for them, Flyview Racing don't have any tokens left. They start 15th and 19th on the grid. Sorry, the graphics slightly obscuring that, but still. So by that logic, they would be doing great. Pappy Pops also have that sort of base level of 3 speed, but they may really struggle in the race. Just 1 grip for that team, that is the lowest out of any, and that may cause them some issues as the tyres start to rot away on the very abrasive banking of this Daytona circuit. Yeah, 4 speed for BFX and Audi Sport Virtual. We'll see how that serves them. Again, BFX is one of those teams that isn't spending any tokens today. They might be kicking themselves over that. Audi Sport will look for a good finish from Juan. Can he rise up from 7th position? We will take a look at the drivers' standings in this race, or coming into this race rather. And it is Jeru who leads the championship. He could mathematically take the championship today. He would need to win the race with the fastest lap and hope that Goose, Jake, Grandy, Cado, Pit Crew, Anti and Corvid all fail to score enough points to take them to 62 or more. Not sure that's entirely likely, considering the likes of Pit Crew spending 2 tokens, Anti spending 3, and of course Journey spending 0. But if he did somehow win, he would be the champion. Still, he's in good position to go into the finale next race and do something there. He finished 2nd last race. Of course, that was Pit Crew's 2nd ever win of his career, and that really has pushed him right into this title fight. He would only need a P5 finish today to find himself tied at the top of the championship, but Anti with 3 tokens may do better than that. However, they will be hindered in their point scoring abilities by the 4 token whales that are well down the championship order. Kada and Shiloh only 30 points between them, and they are 2 of the 4 token spenders here today. But they will crucially stop these championship contending drivers from having a 3 token win, rather maybe a 3 token P4, and that can make all the difference come at the end of the season. We've seen it happen before. Finally, we'll take a look at the team's standings. As mentioned, Fox can mathematically relegate today. They would be quite unlucky to do so. Right at the top though, it's a tie between Superfast Racing and Thunder X. That will be split somehow, I'm sure, by Bottas Pit Crew and by Anti in today's race. You'd have your money on Anti extending that Superfast Racing gap over Thunder X, but come into Lagos, we may see it flip back around. Something else to look out for: can Velocity and Pappy Pops score enough points to get themselves up in the region near BFX? They'd need effective race wins to do so, and can Audi pretty much do the same. It could be a very competitive fight for third place in the championship come the end of the season. That's enough waffling from my end. Let's get straight on with the racing action. Here we go then. It's the inaugural Grand Prix in North America in Ultimate Virtual, and we are underway. It's a really good start from Kada. He pulls alongside Pappy going into turn 1, but he can't get the move done there. Charlo has dropped back. Suicide gets passed by Juan, who had an amazing start up from 7th position on the grid. He's found himself into 4th now, and a really difficult start from Ampha. He couldn't get the launch off the line on that hard compound tyre. Prix, though, looking really, really good in behind up at the top. Pappy from Kada. Juan closing in on Shiloh. Now Prix closing in on Ampha as they head through the chicane. Any difficulty through there? No, all drivers just keeping it clean. Prix uses a bit of that Audi Sport Turbo that they tried to upgrade this week and did get an upgrade on, and that has helped her out in chasing up 5th position on the racetrack at the very start here. Kada leads here at Daytona. Pappy has fallen to 2nd place from pole. Shiloh in 3rd position. Juan is just going to hold off the rest of the pack for now, but Anti looking competitive. You've got to back those drivers who are starting on the softs to do well. Abva had half a look up the outside of the banking, but as you go up through there, it's much more difficult to make a pass simply because you have to drive more distance, and that is them's the laws of gravity in Ultimate Racing 2D. Suicide has fallen down from 4th on the grid to 7th. Can he make it 6th place all the way around the outside of Prix? And he does get that move done. Breaks hard on the apex, though, of that corner. I believe we saw a driver getting somewhat stuck there. Maybe not. I'm not entirely sure who that would have been, but I definitely saw a dot somewhere in there. Pappy, though, taking back that lead and taking it back with confidence. Yes, Turbo, I think, will play more of a factor here than it has at any circuit ever before in Ultimate Virtual, because look at the gap that Shiloh can build using that Turbo. As a reminder of your Turbo levels, Fox actually have the most, so that could explain Abva's really good qualifying performance. Super fast racing definitely have Turbo on their side. Good turbo as well for Lepore Racing and for Thunder Rex on 6 and 5. 4 turbo for each of Neon Sunset Virtual and Flying V Racing. 5 turbo as well for Audi Sport Virtual after that latest upgrade. Then we drop down 2 turbo only for Team Velocity and for Pappy Pops Racing. That could be important in the fight at the front. And no turbo for the BFX team, but we're not expecting to see them up the sharp end of the field today. Anti sits in 4th. Juan has sat back down to 5th place. He's getting a bit of grief from his teammate and team boss Prix. She wants a good run at him, and she might just get it as they go through this first sector, sort of boomerang style corner, or maybe a fin if you look at it at a certain angle. It's completely up to you what you decide you want that to look like. Pit crew all the while around the outside. He's had a really poor start. Hard compound tyre not working for him. You can see the other drivers starting on the hard. Abba lost a few positions off the grid. Juruni down in 12th place, and Goose down into P19, gets passed by his teammate there, Cado, at the very back. So we may have briefly had a velocity sandwich on the grid. Look, this is quite a good battle actually. 2 North Americans, but the Frenchman giving it his go. It's a bit like watching Talladega Nights. Ricky Bobby and Carl Norton Jr. No, that's not the film that the Velocity livery is referencing here today. Shiloh has closed up to Pappy. Kada has somewhat followed her. Shiloh, well, they all follow each other into the pit lane actually. Lap 6, they've decided this is the time. They've gone for a bit of a split of tyres. Kada will sit on the hard, and he just needs to make sure that he can get that hard properly working. He comes out just ahead of Prix and pit crew and actually hinders their run through the first corner and that little wiggle in the straight leading up to the hairpin. Very interesting. This track is fascinating for racing. Very wide, lots of room for overtaking. Really good AI lines as well, freshly made from the office of Nuno II. So you know they're professional. Anti, I think we'll see him do one more lap before he comes in off this medium. We might get a bit of rain, you never know. Juan up in 2nd place at the moment. Shiloh in 3rd. She is now the top of the pitted cars. They all came in very close together, and that little concertina effect, the bunching up of the vehicles, has meant that we see all of them very close. Pit crew is now just behind them, but he's yet to make a stop. This could be slightly where a championship challenge unravels unless he can make some really good overtakes here. He's putting the pressure on Kader, and then we see Shiloh and Pappy just ahead. Juan, then Anti, your race leader, and I was wrong, he didn't come into the pit lane, but you'd have to think surely on this lap. Look, the tyres are sliding, the crew is calling him in, the people at Superfast Races saying, come on Anti, we need to win this championship, come in and change your bloody tyres, why don't you? That's what they'll be saying. Juan holds off Pappy for the time being, which gives Shiloh a really good run all the way around the outside of that right-hand corner, the left-hand corner as we come up to the banking as well. She gets that move done. Juan now right on the back of Anti. You can see he goes all the way around the outside on the banking, uses a bit of turbo, then snaps right back into the racing line. And that is purely so he gets the track position coming into pit lane. Which one of them will come out ahead though? I think Juan, oh, it's going to be so close on the exit, but I think Anti's acceleration up to pit speed in the lane just meant that he was able to jump Juan in the pit stops. That is the downside of having that really late box. Juan tries to go for a move. Anti covers him off twice. Can he cover him off 3 times? Juan gets half a nose at the inside there, but Anti having none of it. He holds on to 5th place as it stands. Pit crew in 4th. He's still not come into the pit lane. Kada now right on the back of Shana Pappy. The more time that he spends matching the pace of the medium runners on his hards, a 35.8 for Pappy last lap, 35.7 for Shiloh, and a 34.7 for Kada. Must have used a bit of turbo there. That's how important turbo will be, and that, you'd have to argue, will benefit Shiloh in the long run. Taking a look at the tokens, in case you've forgotten them, we'll go from most downwards as we see Shiloh looking for a move on Pappy here as they come up to the chicane. Any which way that she can get by, maybe around the outside. She's going to shape up for it. She does have the drive. She does go all the way around the outside on the banking. Does take the lead of the race as we head onto lap 12. This has been thrilling so far. 4 tokens for Kada, 4 tokens for Shiloh, and 4 tokens for Pappy. Those are your top 3. Then we have 3 tokens for Anti and 3 tokens for Juan. They run, or they at least ran in 4th and 5th. They're yet to pass pit crew, but I have a feeling they will do so very soon. Pit crew uses 2 tokens here today, as does Vlad and Abva. So, a good balance. 3 tokens on 4. 3 tokens on 4. 3 drivers on 4 tokens. Here they are. Kada looking for a move on Pappy. Potentially he does, despite the speed deficit of that hard compound tyre. It's not as slow relative to the medium as it is to the soft for obvious reasons. And I think that's what's allowed him to stick with these drivers. On that last lap he matched Shiloh to the 100th of a second for lap time, and Pappy was 1.6 slower. That is quite something. Juan has the pace of the front runners. Anti was a few tenths off on that last lap. Prix doing really well, and pit crew finally did come in. He did come out ahead of Abva. Abva somehow made it, not having the bestest of races so far. They are being beaten by the tokenless flying Dutch girl Priya up in 6th position. Shiloh leads, but for how much longer? Kada really putting on the pressure, and those mediums are going off. Kada, can he sweep back through the left-handed kink and the right-handed hairpin? He retakes the lead of the Daytona race here, the US Grand Prix in Florida. My oh my, that's really quite something. The livery, of course, is a lovely homage to the original Cars movies. Of course, the first Cars movie coming out in June 2006, being, what, 33 years ago next month? I mean, a long time. I watched those as a kid growing up a million years ago, and it's really lovely to see something in the top flight of virtual motorsports paying homage to what was a really fun and enjoyable series of films. Kado and Kada, last and first, similar sounding names, very different positions. Kada has put a lap on his teammate actually, and that means the entire grid falls within a lovely little velocity sandwich. It was great success for Kado racing just a few races ago, and obviously you can see, we'll pull up the standings here for you to take a peek. It was a wonderful win for him at the Turkish Grand Prix, holding off Bluebell on that final lap, and that did help Velocity's season from what was a quite poor start, and especially Kada just really struggling with some of his 2 and 3 token spends earlier on in the season. This 4 token spend so far looks to be coming off for him a treat. Shiloh sits in second place. She's not come in yet. Pappy has come in. He may well get the undercut on his direct competitor. Shiloh stretched those mediums far enough that she was able to match Caddo, and as Pappy sweeps his way through turn 1, he does take the position there. Caddo now playing rear gunner to his teammate. Might indeed be able to hold off Shiloh just that little bit, but he does get a wash of dirty air through the right hand hairpin there, and we'll have to just dial it back for the time being. Pappy leads by half a second from Caddo, but his mediums have seen a bit of wear. I reckon these two drivers will be in at the same time at the end of their stints, of course rain permitting. But look at the speed of Caddo. He darts to the outside. He doesn't care about that all too much. Honestly, if that was me, I would have pooed my pants there, because he really had to swerve off to the side, almost into the grandstands, to find a bit of room to get past the Canadian driver who was trying to make that Pappy Pops racing car the widest he could possibly have made it. He's getting repassed by lapped car Rito. Shiloh will take that little slipstream and go straight through on Pappy as well. She'll put the pressure now on Caddo, same tyre, and this may just swing back into the favour of the Leadpool Racing team as she sets what is very close to being the fastest lap of the race, certainly her personal best. You would have thought originally, with the fact that she was unable to pull away from Caddo on the mediums while he was on the hards at the start of the stint, that it's a bit of a faux pas, but the fact that she stuck with him to the end of the stint, chose the same tyres, and has made a genuine move for track position. How much for longer though? Not much. Caddo back through on lap 19 into the race lead. A bit of boost used by Shiloh there. Caddo has a little bit in the tank as well, the ever recharging boost. Pappy sits in third. We'll do a tyre rundown from the top. Caddo leads on good condition softs as well for Shiloh, and slightly older mediums for Pappy. Those hards still have a ways to go under the car of the Audi Sport Virtual driven by Juan. Anti sits in 5th position at the moment, looking to close in on the top 4. That would put him in, I believe, the championship lead. Would it? Yeah. Top 4 would put him in the championship lead. Pit Crew sits in 6th, quite disappointing. This would currently not put him in the championship lead. It would only tie him with Goose in 2nd. Prix, 7th place for her. Suicide having a really impressive race still in 8th position. Although looking to get passed by Abva, the 2-token spender, looking to take some points for Fox. Again, I don't think that they will be relegated this race, but it's looking more and more of an eventuality, especially with the complete lack of upgrade on the car in the last couple of weeks due to a cut in funding. Suicide P9, tokenless, that's quite impressive. And Craft up in 10th, somehow made it, sort of struggling down in 11th position. Not a great race for him so far. Might as well do the rest of the grid. Jiruni in 11th place. We'll take a look at the tokens as well. Jiruni in 11th place. It's Suicide now in 12th after pitting. Someone made it, that means back into the top 10. Rito in 13th on the hards, on the softs. It's Corvid on the hards in 14th. Fox in 15th on the softs. Then Grandy, 16th place. It'd be difficult to see him win the title this season, but you never know. He might just finally pull it off. Todd and Caddo in a good little battle there, and Goose just behind him. In 19th place, Jake backs up pack. Shiloh now leads from Caddo. Caddo looking to close in here. Sunny skies all day long. So far here in Daytona, may we finally see a bit of rain, a bit of that famous Florida flash flood thunderstorm tropical action that is so common in these parts of the world. You never know. Caddo closes up. Shiloh, I believe, slightly nicks the grass there. Somehow made it. Will allow Caddo to go through with a little bit of a wobble just to put him off. He's going to actually bump draft Shiloh right into the pit lane. No incentive to take a different line there. And he does get the little jump just out of his box. That sees them go level at the pit exit. And that does mean that Caddo will jump Shiloh through the pits and take 2nd place on the track. Juan out in the lead. Pappy was forced to come in a little bit earlier, or I believe he actually just came in that lap as well as the top bunch. So he has fallen now behind Anti, who'll have to re-overtake, but also just in terms of pure seconds, now 6 behind Shiloh. Not a good position for him to be in. The Pappy Pops team I mean, if we take a look at the constructor standings, you could argue they're not really fighting for much at this point. They're pretty happy with 7th place. They're not going to get relegated. If they got a good result today, it might be 4th come the end of the season, or 5th, and that would be a good finish for them. But I think they'll be happy dwelling where they are, to be completely honest. I don't think that they have the best chance of getting tokenless points in the final race, but then again, the acceleration on that car is very good, and that has proved to be a bit of a secret weapon this season. Pit crew into the lane, very close behind Prix as he comes out. This should be a pretty elementary pass, but he does make a meal of it. Will he have another go into the hairpin? Takes a wider line, and he will be very sad to hear the news that rain is coming right away. This will be really, and I do mean really, putting a dent in his championship hopes. Pappy and Anti elect to pit on the 25th lap of the race. The race leaders will take it one more here, and I believe that is the right call, because rain will basically not hit the circuit until they've made it to pit road, whereas Pappy currently sliding a lot. The rain will only come now. This, though, massively playing to the hands of Juan, but we do see the rain is fake rain. Inters Gokada and Shiloh, and that looks to be a very good call as well. I mean, you might have even decided to pit for slicks there, to be honest. Suicide, I think, has stayed out entirely. He has on that hard compound tyre because he didn't come round to the pit lane in time, and just like that, Anti and Pappy coming in for yet another stop. Back onto the soft compound tyres they go. But all the damage, I think, must have been done there. Juan will get a free pit stop over them already by default. And look at this, going for the move on Shiloh. You'd think, Juan, just tiptoe it around, mate. There's no need to wring the neck out of that car. You can just get it back into the pits in one piece. But no, he is going for it. And only lapped cars really stopped him from getting Kada there. I think Kada will maintain the lead as he comes out of pit road, but it will be quite tight. Yeah, just behind is Juan as they go through pit exit now. Yeah, Juan and Jake having a little bit of a scrap there. Juan will now get through on somehow made it as well, but this has played massively into his hands. Shiloh still hanging in there. She needs to get through a bit of lap traffic, but Anti and Pappy really badly damaged by this. Anti actually somewhat helped purely because Pappy dropped behind him. Abver as well is now the 6th place driver. Pit crew really hurt by that. I think he was one of those who, oh my god, and it's coming back again. This is what I was saying about the Floridian weather, guys. You just cannot predict this kind of stuff. Kada leads Juan through this first sector. We do have drivers coming in already. Anti yet again, like a duck to water, taking that wet as the first driver. I think that's just too early to be coming in for the wet. You'd almost rather go another lap because you don't really need that grip as you're heading around the banking. You can just sort of take it slightly easy, lift off the throttle a little bit, but still go for it. This is about the right time to be coming in for the likes of Ab from Prix, who are just so far behind that they time it very well, and Kada of course has timed it very well. He does take the wets. That is interesting. Juan will have that knowledge as he heads into his box. Will he opt for the wets? No, he goes for the inters. Always 1-2 strike in opposition pose there. Pappy will be the last driver in. I think Anti will absolutely fly through as he does. Just enough grip to head through turn 1, and he will build a really nice gap on the Canadian. By the time he gets through there, I wouldn't count him completely out of the fight. At the very front even, he's only a couple seconds off it. I think there was a big collision there though with Todd Sod, and I think that has now counted him out of that fight. Bit of commentator's curse. Kada leads the race. Velocity, petrified they wouldn't take victory this season, something that they have been the only team to achieve. Victory in every single season in Ultimate Virtual. They did manage to ensure that record stayed as they took victory in Turkey, but they would love a victory for Kada in what has been such a difficult debut season. If he scores a 2nd place finish or higher in this race, that is more points he'll be taking here today than he has in the rest of the campaign combined. Juan, though, will not go easy. It's rookie v rookie. These two drivers fought it out for wins in Challenger Virtual last season. They fight it out at the very front here in Daytona. Juan looking to do what you call the nigh on impossible, win with 3 tokens in a race with 4 spenders. But it may just happen for him. All the while, Pappy and Anti is the fight for P4 to keep your eye on. Other fights going down. Pit crew in 7th position will be really gutted with that. That is a terrible position to be in as a championship contender. The man who won the last race, put himself well and truly in that conversation, is having a terrible day at the office. That will be music to the ears of their closest title rivals, Anti and SFR, who in 4th place may not be over the moon with that, but it's a hell of a lot better as Shiloh goes through to 2nd place. The rain coming down and this race devolving into absolute chaos towards the end here. Shiloh might be making a push for the win. Again, all 3 of these teams sit in the championship. In fact, we'll pull it up on the overview so it doesn't completely obscure. But yeah, look, they sit in the championship. 5th place for Audi, 6th place for Velocity, and 9th place for Leadpool. These teams not threatened by relegation. Fox have well and truly put their stake on that, but not anything special really. Leadpool Racing, up until last race, failed to take a single podium in this season so far. It was only Corvin managing it in Singapore that got them one. But Shiloh, as Juan very much is held up by lap traffic, look at the fight that we have here. This is just absolutely incredible. The front 3 go pretty much side by side into that left-hander. The track is drying. I don't think it'll dry quickly enough, or maybe it'll dry just for the final corner as Juan went from 1st place, gets completely screwed over by the old foxy driver, who may see his own fate consigned down to Challenger Virtual, but he'll still be racing for the love of the game. The front 3 absolutely flying through the 1st sector. Juan up the inside, the intermediates that he did choose, contrary to the other 2 fighting for the win, may just play into his favour, particularly as the track is about to dry. Will we see the wet runners heading for a final lap pit stop? You really struggle to believe it. This could hand Juan the win on a plate. 3 drivers spending 4 tokens. The track is now dry. The man on the intermediates looking in the best position, but he does get passed by Kada. But look at the grip difference as they head through turn 1. Juan has so much more in that intermediate. On a dry track, he takes the narrow line. Kada takes a wide line, looking to let the tyres just kick out a little bit. Lots of drivers have come into the lane. It will be a pure show of straight line speed. I'm not even sure that Juan will have the time to catch the girl up in front. Can he get a move here up the inside and the banking? Will Kada have anything left to fight it with? I doubt it. He'll have to take way to it. Juan and Shiloh, this may just be a photo finish. I'm not even sure it will be, because Juan wins the US Grand Prix with a final straight boost. Shiloh had so much left in the tank, you've got to be wondering why she didn't deploy it, but it looks like the intermediate was the perfect call for the Audi Sport Virtual driver. He takes his 2nd victory of the season. He won in Vallelunga, and he will take victory here in Daytona. What a debut season for the Belgian driver. Shiloh 2nd place in the end, and Kada in 3rd. Both of these drivers will be gutted they couldn't win it. Absolutely gutted. Anti finished 4th, a good day at the office for him, all things considered. Pappy took 5th place in the end, not really good enough that, and Pit Crew did climb back up to 6th from what could have been 8th. I think the pit stops may have had a role to play in that. Craft a whale behind the race leader, will finish in 9th, and Suicide takes the final point for Pappy Pops Racing. My oh my, that really is quite something. So, to recap, Juan, after 22 minutes, 19 seconds, and 82 hundredths of a second of pure racing action here in Daytona, with weather timed perfectly to make it the most dramatic ending imaginable, he wins the US Grand Prix. Shiloh, 2nd place only for her, so close. In her home race, she wasn't quite able to take that checkered flag to win. Kada, 3rd place for him, and for Team Velocity, racing in the Americas. Not quite enough in the end. It was the tyre choice that did it. He fought so valiantly on that final lap, but he didn't have the grip coming out of that chicane, even with the great push on the final bank turn. couldn't make it count, and he finished 4th in the end. I think he'll take that result. 3 token spend, you're behind 3 drivers, albeit not the 3-4 token spenders. Pappy, bit of a shocker down in 5th place, but he did take the fastest lap at the very least, and that won't really matter too much to them. 12 points today. I mean, if they weren't mathematically safe before, they most certainly are now. Pit crew, 6th position for him and for the Thunder X team. Abver in 7th place. Then it's Priya in 8th. Abver won't be too pleased with 7th, but I think Fox will effectively have accepted their fate already for this season. Priya, 8th place for her tokenless points in the Alisport Virtual, and Kraft doing very well in the BFX. This is exactly what we thought would happen. The ASV and BFX with their 4 speed being the best cars in the circuit, and Juan just about to prove that. Prix and Kraft with their tokenless points also proving that. Suicide saying don't underestimate the acceleration on that Pappy Pops car. We have what it takes to fight. Just outside the points, and he'll be glad he's not here to see this, it is 2 tokens for no points for the Neon Sunset Virtual driver. Somehow I made it. 11th place for him, 14th place for his teammate. 0 points from this weekend, and that will probably most likely cap off a dismal season for the team. I can't see them taking any points next time out. 12th for Girini in the BFX, 13th for Corbin, 14th for Rito, 15th for Grandy. Goose lies in 16th, 17th place for Fox, 18th for Caddo, 19th for Jake, 20th for Todd. Lots of championship contenders down the order there. Gosh, we'll have to see what all gets decided come the final race in Interlagos in a week's time. So much to fight for, so much going on in the championships, teams and drivers. 12 points for SFR today, only 8 for Thunder X. Could that make all the difference? It's a 4-point lead insurmountable. I struggle to believe so, but we'll find out all the answers to that next Thursday. For now, thank you so much for watching what has been an exhilarating race, and goodbye.